Dober dan! It's the Dravo and Meten Mene. Hi, it's Tom from Green Shorts, and today I'm gonna make a teacup rocket stove out of this salvaged square tube. Like a lot of the metal I'm working with on my projects, I've captured this from the recycling event that I help run in my community. Most of it goes to scrap, but some of the stuff like this that I can see turning into projects I'll keep and use. This was part of someone's hammock stand that they decided they were gonna get rid of. So you can see I've already cut a piece off of this, but what I have left here should be just enough for a teacup rocket stove. Trusty workmate, not a sponsor. I said teacup, but what I should have said was teapot. I want to use this rocket stove with my African teapot. You may have seen this teapot in a video before. I actually picked this up when I was on an assignment in Africa, and I traded my shoes for it. I was happy to leave my shoes with this vendor, and he was happy to exchange his personal teapot for them. I could burn the paint off this tube, but I don't want to do that. So I'm actually going to start by grinding the paint off. There will still be some emissions from that, but less, I think, than if I burned it off. I'm going to make a simple K-type rocket stove, and I thought about how I wanted the relationship of the three elements to come together. The fire tunnel, the fuel magazine, and the riser. Of course, the riser will be taller than that, but I wanted my fuel magazine here a little bit more vertical than the traditional 45-degree angle. I just feel like the fuel doesn't feed as well unless it's standing almost vertically. So here's the setup. I'm going to cut out these pieces, and that will help me get my angles right. So I'm going to go with the 2:3 ratio for the fire tunnel and the riser. My dimensions are going to be a 6-inch fire tunnel and a 9-inch riser. I'm going to measure the 9-inch dimension on this side, since when I flip this around, this will be my 6 and this will be my 9. If I were to just measure 9 from here, I'd end up with a 10-inch riser. Of course, as always, I'm using my twisted Sharpie from Greg's Garage. I'll put a link to that in the description below. Number 21 is in my possession. Alright, these need a little cleanup, and I need to create cavities where the magazine's coming in, but I like how this is looking. Needs a little adjustment. The welding will be a little bit forgiving since I'll be sewing in. I'll just tack it up and make sure I've got my angles right. I say that like I know what I'm doing. I'm not a welder yet. Alright, I'm going to check my fit up on both sides. Can work with that. A little more open on this side, but I can probably fill that in just fine. Alright, let's weld it up. Trusty workmate becomes trusty welding table. You know, I joke that I'm not a welder, and I actually started out on the $200 Amazon cheapo, and it did pretty well. But I recently was able to upgrade thanks to my friend Chad at Mancrafting. He got a new welder, and so I bought his Lincoln 210 MP. Lincoln is not a sponsor of this channel yet, but they are a sponsor of Laura Kampf's channel. And if you haven't seen Laura's videos, they are beautiful. She is an artist, a designer, and a pretty dang good maker. If you like what I'm doing here, you would probably really enjoy what Laura's doing on her channel. I'll put a link in the description below. Having a Lincoln welder has in fact made me a better welder. And if you like what you see with this Lincoln, I'll put a link in the description below. If this were a scene in one of Laura's videos, here's how she'd shoot it. It's a pretty fat weld though, may be a little bit cold. Just a little Laura Kampf inside joke. You'll have to watch her channel to see what I mean. The old premature squeeze of the trigger gets me in trouble. That weld is way too fat. Anybody know why? Maybe my voltage is too high or my wire speed is too high. I'd love some feedback on that. I don't think this weld is going to fail. Because these welds are so chunky, I'm gonna grind them down. Alright, so that was probably a whole lot of mostly unnecessary grinding. And that's why it's called a K-type rocket stove. Okay. I'm gonna grab a file and clean up in there a little bit. Now that the body of the stove is finished, it's going to need some legs and a grill of sorts to hold the teapot. I'm also going to add a dampener to the top of the fuel magazine. I went over to the salvage bin to see what I could use for the legs, and I found this yard sign frame. And I really like these curves, so I'm gonna cut this up to make my legs. Something like that. Make sure this sits level. High spot right there. Of course, it's not quite level. So while the legs are hot here on the concrete floor of my garage, level this out. It just struck me that the floor of my garage is probably not level. It's got a bit of a slope to it so that any water that gets in will drain out, but it's probably close enough. Now the legs are touching on the outside edges here, which will help it kind of spread out its center of gravity. It's a thing of beauty. All right, now it's time to make the damper and the teapot standoffs. I'm gonna use this salvaged hinge and start by cutting it down. I'm going to put a handle on the dampener using this carriage bolt. I'm going to cut off another piece of the sign frame to use for my pot standoffs. Alright, I'm gonna let this cool down just a little bit, and then I'm gonna paint it with some high temperature spray paint. Using the Rust-Oleum high heat spray paint, it's rated for 1200 degrees. Alright, so I'm curious how this is going to work. Hope it didn't scale down too much. So before I put the teapot on, I want to do a quick test burn here just to see how the air flows. Gathered some sticks here. They're the smallest of the sticks and twigs. Now I'm going to light this with a stick lighter from the front. Nice little fire going. A little bit smoky. It's actually vortexing a little bit. That's cool. Oh, that's hot. I think I'm actually going to convert this to run on pellets. I think that would work really well with this magazine. I wanted to see if it would run on twigs first. I build this a little bit and then I'll put the teapot on. The way this was done in Africa was to just put it in a pot with the water and boil the heck out of it. So I'm gonna do it that way. There's a bit of ash buildup. Got rid of that ash, got the airflow going again. The main issue I see here is feed. When I knock the coals off the bottom of the sticks that are in there, they slide down and burn faster. So I think pellets might be the way to go. Alright, this did not do what I expected it would. My pellets actually came in today. They were supposed to come in tomorrow, so I hadn't planned on making the pellet part of this stove until next week. But what I am going to do this week is make a quick little test one using this hardware cloth. So let me cut that up and we'll see if this works better with pellets. Alright, so I've rigged up a very basic basket here for the pellets. This would never hold up over a long period of time, but it will at least let me test this out. Alright, I think I need a little help lighting these. Do a couple drops of lighter fluid. pellets are burning. I'm gonna use my bellows that my cousin Rob sent me. See if I can't get that fire going. I do think that that little basket isn't far enough out into the riser to get a good burn going, but let me see what I can do. Hey, check it out. Right when I go to show you, it blows out. Alright, so I'm not giving up yet. I think with a proper pellet basket, get a little more of those pellets out into the riser, get the air flowing through that. I think that might keep that fire burning. It seems to start up pretty well once I run the bellows and then slowly burn out. Alright, so the jury is still out. There's a chance that it just looks cool and that there may just not be enough air volume moving through this 1.5 inch tube to get a rocket started. If you watch my channel long enough, you know I'm going to show you the videos that don't turn out quite like I expected. But sometimes you can get to success by keeping at it. So that's my commitment. I'm going to keep trying this. As always, my mission here at GreenShortz is to help you see green so you can be green and save a little green by doing it yourself. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and share. Let me know what you think might be wrong with this rocket stove. And we'll see you in the next video, most likely next Saturday. As always, thank you to my patrons for helping make these videos possible. If you'd like to join me over on Patreon, you can check the description below. Got a special Discord channel and extra content there.